I'm the teen.
And I'm the wolf.
And I'm the.
And I'm the movie.
And this is Teen Wolf the Movie!
H-A-L-L-O-W-E. It's Halloween.
In case you haven't heard, Jeff Davis recently announced that he will be making a Teen Wolf movie to drop on Paramount Plus in 2022.
And we are so very excited about it.
Spiritually, we are pre-ordering our tickets and waiting outside of the movie theater with the largest bucket of popcorn money can buy.
As you will know if you watched my video essay on why I love Derek Hale from Teen Wolf, we love MTV Teen Wolf so very, very much.
Yeah, it's the best show in existence.
His mom does all the grocery shopping.
His mom does all the grocery shopping!
To celebrate, we went to Build-A-Bear and got a werewolf and legally named him Derek Hale from Teen Wolf. And then I spent like 3 hours sewing a little outfit for him, so now he has bootcut jeans and a leather jacket because he's Derek Hale from Teen Wolf.
And they didn't have any more werewolves in the store, so I got a bunny. You can watch our Build-A-Bear trip if you subscribe to our Patreon and you would like to experience that journey with us.
We had a lot of fun.
We're not putting a clip from MTV's Teen Wolf in this werewolf. It's not at all what we're doing. I was wondering what that was. Oh, that's amazing.
Here, so you can always listen.
Yeah, it fully lets you. This is good.
His name is Derek Hale from Teen Wolf.
They let us type the whole thing.
Also, when you squeeze his paw,
Oh my god.
I'm the alpha.
The girl had to bring over a special microphone so that we could record it as crisply as possible, and it did not work.
The mortifying ordeal of making Derek Hale from Teen Wolf.
I'm the alpha.
Thank you, Caitlin and Grace, specifically from the Thousand Oaks
Build-A-Bear.
Build-A-Bear location.
Which we had to drive very far to get to because we do not have Build-A-Bears in this town. So anyway.
Very homophobic town.
Yeah, it's a very homophobic town that they don't have any Build-A-Bears. Because we are gay geniuses and we have so very many brain disorders between us, and we love this show so very much, clearly we are the only two people alive qualified to write this film.
But we have too many good ideas, so we have compiled a list of concepts to pitch to Mr. Jeff Davis.
We did pick the one that we think is the most interesting to expand on, so if you are only here for that and you don't care about any of our other pitches, feel free to skip to the timestamp below. Or if you love us and you want to stay around.
Mr. Jeff Davis, please feel free to use any of these ideas. Just Venmo us each like $100,000 and you can use any of these ideas for free.
Yep, completely for free. Okay, pitch 1. Set 5 years after the finale of Teen Wolf, Scott has essentially retired from the supernatural and is trying to live a normal life. He is working at Beacon Hills High, coaching the hottest new sport, Frisbee golf.
Coach Finstock is now the school principal.
Or possibly president of the school district.
Or possibly president of America.
Scott is teaching the teens about sportsmanship and teamwork, but it's becoming increasingly clear that the members of the Frisbee golf team are one by one being turned into vampires. Scott must now take these teen vampires under his werewolf wing and raise them as his own, just like when my pet turkey Delilah stole a bunch of chicken eggs and adopted all the babies and raised them as her own. He also must track down the vampire who is siring all of these new fledglings and abandoning them, and this all culminates in a vampire-werewolf fight on the Frisbee golf field.
Pitch number 2. A young girl arrives in town searching for the secrets to her own supernatural past. She wants to know who she is, and the mysterious light she's been following might have the answers she needs. Scott and Derek run into a new pack in the woods, a different kind of pack than they've come across before, and learn about new elements of magic and resurrection. It's Disney's Zombies 3. It's just Zombies 3 and the budget is $1 trillion and nary a penny is spent on good-looking facial prosthetics or wigs. It's just Zombies 3.
Yeah, it's just Zombies 3. Derek is babysitting Malia, his 23-year-old niece, and she's being being even meaner to him than usual. He asks what's wrong, and she finally admits that she's having trouble making friends at work, and it makes her feel insecure because her girlfriend Kira has tons of friends, and Malia's worried that Kira will just forget about her if she doesn't have her own friends. Derek sits down next to her on their pink couch and says that he knows of somebody who once struggled to make friends too. Himself, but a princess. He tells her an elaborate story about the power of friendship and being a secret princess. It's a Barbie movie and the budget is $1 trillion and nary a penny goes to the animation budget in true Barbie movie form.
Okay, a prequel movie? Where everyone's parents were involved in something supernatural when they were teens and it erased their memories, so that's why they don't remember it as adults when their teens start running around being werewolves. And also, everybody plays their own parents like in Riverdale, and we do not do anything about the gender situation, so it's just Crystal Reed playing Chris Argent and Tyler Posey playing Scott's hot mom, etc., etc.
Teen Wolf the Musical!
Muppet Teen Wolf! Every character is replaced by a Muppet except for Derek Hale.
Because we love Derek Hale.
One time that's happened during filming.
It's a Christmas movie. It's also Derek's birthday because one of his birthdays is on Christmas because he's a gift to the world and because nobody is appreciating him for being the best Christmas present in the world. Krampus and maybe Belschnickel come to town to punish everybody for not loving Derek enough. Everybody has to work together to save the day and to love Derek with all their hearts. And also they do parkour up the inside of a chimney and backflip off the roof because those teen wolves sure love parkour.
It's a mockumentary of a bunch of college kids who are trying to do like a Blair Witch thing, but they keep accidentally getting footage of Derek Hale in the woods. So he kills them because he thinks that they're hunters who are trying to kill him, and then it just turns into this whole thing.
Scott, again, has retired from the supernatural and is trying to live a normal life. He settled down with a lady, does not matter which one, and has had a daughter. He decided not to tell his daughter about his werewolf past, but suddenly she's gotten really good at basketball and keeps growing fur. He finally relents and explains his werewolf heritage to her. It's Teen Wolf 1985, but in a feminist twist. It's a girl! Also, Tyler Posey is still playing Scott because I think he needs this, and I don't have the heart to take it away from him. We just age him up exactly the same way that they did for Sam's Supernatural. So Party City wig and a cardigan, that's it.
The first one with the vampires, except Godzilla also shows up at the end, and the werewolves and the vampires have to unite to fight him, but Godzilla actually isn't there to do anything evil, he's just there to pick up his boyfriend, the Mind Flayer, for their date at the local gay bar, the one that Derek Hale goes to.
But our best idea,
the one that we have decided to expand into a full pitch,
is the one where Derek Hale has a baby now.
Yeah, he has a little baby now.
Also, there's intricate supernatural stuff happening, but most importantly, Derek Hale has a baby.
I feel like we should put forth the disclaimers that we did not watch the later seasons of Teen Wolf.
Yeah, we should put a disclaimer that we did not watch the later seasons of Teen Wolf.
But I don't think those count as Teen Wolf so much.
Teen Wolf is the first 3 seasons, the rest of them aren't canon.
So we open on Scott's hot mom,
Miss Milflissa McCall herself.
at work at the hospital. She's in the room while a patient flatlines while they're doing chest compressions, but they only flatline for like a few seconds before dramatically gasping and sitting up. She doesn't seem to find this strange and doesn't really make a note of it.
We pan through the town of Beacon Hills, getting a glimpse into the current lives of the beloved characters we've been missing for the past 5 years. Coach Finstock is the school principal now, Deaton's vet clinic is still up and running, Sheriff Stalinsky,
His name is John. We're retconning it and his name is John because I can't handle the Noah thing.
he's still sheriff and his son Styles is still living with him.
Styles dropped out of FBI school after the first semester because he realized that cops bad. So he decided to explore his spark thing more and went to do a training course in France because the show sends everybody to France at some point.
But he realized after the first class that magic is way harder than he thought it'd be, and he's much worse at it than he expected to be. So he gave up a little bit, and now he's working on like a fake it till you make it kind of method.
He has been acting as the town emissary and pretending to be good at magic.
Mostly he's been getting away with it by wearing a lot of costume jewelry and dressing like a goth 16-year-old on Halloween.
He's been working with the police department as a consultant where he just does like an insane amount of research on the back end and pretends to be psychic when he brings them his findings. And it's very much like in Psych where they go, okay, well, I don't think you were smart enough to come up with that information. And then the guy with ADHD comes in and he's like, but what if I discovered it psychically? And they're like, yes, of course, that makes much more sense. Here is your check.
Styles' dad kind of suspects that he's not actually using magic to solve these cases, but he's not going to say anything about it if it means Styles is paying rent.
He will also periodically pretend that a new monster or cryptid has come into town and that he runs it off and is keeping the town safe. It's like, good news, everybody. Jersey Devil came a long way to get here and I sent it running.
You may all sleep soundly tonight. Malia is working with the forestry and spends most of her days running around the woods alone, and that's working out great for her because she does not like people. Also, she and Kira are in love, and Kira packs her a lunch every day and writes little notes in them. Jackson still lives in town, but recently got sucked into a cult, so he was gone for a while. Isaac came back from France and is running the cemetery again, and Cora is off with her lesbian biker gang.
Lydia is living in San Francisco, being a very glamorous researcher in a high-tech lab, and she wears a lot of ball gowns at very fancy functions where she seduces beautiful women away from science men. We didn't watch the later seasons enough to care about any of the puppy packs, so they all got left in Mexico. I don't know. I don't care.
Scott has been living in San Diego, getting a degree to teach physical education at UCSD because we still think it's fun if Scott becomes a coach, possibly for frisbee golf, so he hasn't been home much lately.
We return to the hospital where Melissa is getting ready to head home after her shift.
Before she leaves, she hears shouting and crashing, and she runs to see what all the commotion is.
She gets to the morgue, where one by one, each body is gasping and sitting up exactly like the body that flatlined. Oh no, she thinks. This has become a Call Styles thing, and Call Styles things always mean some insane Halloween monster is going to ruin the next fortnight for her.
And Styles is not nearly good enough at actually saving the town from real, not made-up monsters, so he is definitely going to turn this into a Call Scott thing.
Yeah, Scott gets the call that strange things are afoot in Beacon Hills and packs up his surfboard and his skateboard and his rollerblades and he goes home to investigate.
Scott gets to his house and bursts through the door, expecting to see his mom, but instead finds Derek Hale sitting in his living room drinking a beer. He is very confused by why Derek Hale might be sitting in his living room drinking a beer. Melissa walks in from the kitchen and sees them both and says, "Oh, Scott, I didn't think you'd get here until later. We were gonna tell you." And Scott's like, "Tell me what? Mom, are you dating Derek Hale? I thought you were dating Chris Argent." And Melissa's like, "Yeah, we were gonna tell you." And then Chris Argent walks in wearing a towel, holding a baby, who is also wrapped in a towel, who he hands to Derek. And Scott is so very confused.
Thank you, Tyler Hecklin, for saying that thing about how if it was up to you, Derek would have had a baby when he came back in season 6 because, oh boy, are we taking that idea and running with it. The backstory is that Chris and Melissa have been dating, like in canon, apparently. And Chris is still trying to keep hunters from murdering innocent people, and he found an orphaned werewolf pup and went, well, okay, I guess I gotta take care of this baby so that nobody does anything insane and hurts it. So he took her home, and boy, oh boy, he and Melissa have raised babies before. And Melissa has raised a werewolf before, but oh boy, they do not know how to raise a werewolf baby. And they were not prepared for the fang teething and uncontrolled shifting, so they keep having to call Derek over for help.
He just keeps coming over and being like, "The fan is too loud for her very strong ears. She needs to chew on a carrot. She's chewing up her crib because none of the teething toys you gave her are strong enough. Her claws are getting caught in this onesie." And eventually they realize that Derek has just been sleeping in the rocking chair in the baby's room all night and hasn't been to his house in a week. And they realize that they don't really mind that they're all co-parenting and they kind of just like having Derek around.
They're like, "Okay, Derek, you're in this with us now. Do you want to come sleep in the real bed with us?" But he's like, "No, Actually, I have to sleep in the nursery like a big dog to protect this small baby, but thank you for the offer. I will take a little kiss, though. And now that's just their lives.
Derek stays home with the baby, and Melissa and Chris still work, and most people don't know about the baby because in the past 6 months she has not gotten better at controlling any aspect of the shifting thing, because she is a baby. So Derek just goes about his daily life doing his housewife chores with a half-shifted baby strapped to his chest chewing on his shirt collar, and also they named the baby Laura Allison because obviously they were not going to name her after Chris's dead sister. But they threw in Allison as the middle name because that's nice.
I would like to emphasize that this is not just a co-parenting situation. This is deeply romantic as well as sexual. This is not a platonic thing. It is a polycule thing, and they all love each other and they love their werewolf baby.
Scott cannot wrap his head around any of this and does not know what to do with any of this information he's just been given, but the baby is holding his baby blanket and wearing his baby clothes, and his mom told him he's gonna have to sleep on the couch because they turned his room into the nursery.
Styles shows up, and the two of them have a quick reunion before Styles tells them all that his dad gave him some very unsettling information. The station has been getting noise complaints about the cemetery.
Scott and Styles head over to the cemetery and find Isaac in the midst of digging up graves. He explains that earlier that morning he'd started hearing shouting from under the ground, and when he dug up one of the graves and pried open the coffin...
Because he's a weirdo.
Yeah, because he's a weirdo. Mrs. Hernandez, who he buried last week, thanked him for his help and climbed out of her own grave.
So together, the three of them get to work unburying each grave. They get out it's the truck with the digger arm thing. I don't know what it's called because I didn't play with trucks as a kid.
An excavator?
Probably. They get out that thing and they start working backwards through the most recent deaths. Most of the previously dead people just kind of climb out and they send them on their way. But when they open a few of the most recent coffins, there's something wrong with the bodies.
The people aren't really conscious. They're just sort of wheezing and seem like they're caught in this sort of weird half-awake state. They notice that the lids of those coffins are scratched up and the people's hands are bloody.
They reason that these people must have come back to life earlier and tried to claw their way out but suffocated before they could. This establishes that anybody who dies from this point on will still be stuck, unable to be fully back. There are still stakes.
They keep digging up the graves, and they're working hard to get the reanimated people out of their coffins before they die again. And people are coming back pretty quickly, and within about a week, they've dug up 5 years worth of bodies.
The citizens of Beacon Hills are very weirded out by all of this, but not as surprised as Scott assumed they would be, because they have been very bad at hiding the fact that this is a town filled with Halloween monsters.
Most people are creeped out by the zombie factor, but it's still nice to see departed loved ones again.
But then, they find Gerard Argent's grave already empty, and suddenly this all feels like much more of a problem.
Now every bad guy they've ever fought and killed is coming back, and that's very stressful.
Also, for unknown reasons, more monsters are being drawn to Beacon Hills.
So they've got old enemies along with new ones, and they're getting attacked from all sides, and we've got lots of werewolf battles set to techno music.
Yeah, those are just kind of interspersed randomly.
Like how Teen Wolf does.
Yeah, like once a commercial break like Teen Wolf does, but there's no commercials, so it all just happens so fast. And for 2 hours.
Yeah, for 2 hours.
They called in Malia and Kara and Jackson and Lydia and Ethan, who have all come to help, but they keep getting outnumbered.
They also called Cora, but she said that she was busy with her lesbian biker gang, and also she hates Beacon Hills a little bit. They could have asked Peter for help, but because he has died and come back to life so many times, every 5 minutes he starts choking and dies for a second, and then is fine again. And it's like in Shrek the Third when the Frog King keeps Fake Out dying, and none of them want to be around him because it grosses them out, and so they're all just avoiding Peter. Just keeps okay, we're good. And they're all like, oh, Peter, you're making everyone uncomfortable.
They're getting desperate to figure out what's going on and how to stop it, and his usual deepness being very cryptic and not actually helping.
And they keep asking Derek for help, but he just keeps telling them that he's a father now, and he goes to therapy twice a week, and his therapist thinks that he uses violence as a shield against the world, and she taught him a lot of breathing exercises, and now he's very chill and anti-violence.
Also, he's very busy with baby Laura, and he will not let any of them babysit.
They do some investigations and find out that there's a new German teacher at school named Dr. Abaddon Wolfsmord, and assume that he must be behind all of this, because yeah, obviously it's him.
It can't not be him.
I would like for him to have a comically evil look, like a handlebar mustache that he twirls evilly, and he wears a velvet cloak everywhere, and ideally he's played by Vincent Price doing a bad accent and wearing a monocle.
They keep breaking into his house and into his desk in his classroom, looking for clues that he's evil, but they can't find anything, and more villains keep showing up.
Okay, quick edit. We just got home from seeing Venom Blood There Be Carnage. It's 11 at night. Quick edit. At some point they go to Coach Finstock, and they're like, hey, I think Dr. Abaddon Wolfsmord might be evil. Do you have any info on him or anything? And he's like, how dare you? That man is my best friend. He saved my life. And they're like, yeah, but I think he might be evil. And he's like, okay. First, you insult my hiring practices, and then my best friend, Abaddon Wolfsmord. And they're like, yes, I'm so sorry. We get some very dramatic scenes where Allison comes back to life and Scott cries a lot, and they have a whole like reunion, and Erica and Boyd come back, and it's like the whole pack's back together, and it's very sweet and dramatic, and we remember how many really good Teen Wolf characters got killed off.
And then Victoria Argent comes back to life.
She meets up with Gerard, who has been just like lurking. We like to think that he crawled out of his grave and then crawled under somebody's porch and has just been holed up there like an old sick cat where he gathers information and stuff. And so he tells her that he knows where Derek Hale is living, so she can get her revenge for that time that Derek accidentally bit her a little bit and then she killed herself about it.
So she's real pissed when she shows up at the McCall house and finds out that Derek Hale is sleeping with her husband. Deeply romantic and sexual. She attacks him and tries to kill him, and we get to see Derek fighting with like the baby still strapped to his chest. He does a backflip and then turns and faces the camera and says directly to the audience that it's okay because babies have to be tossed around a little bit and spun so that they figure out the equilibrium of their ears. Chris tries to reason with Victoria and explain that werewolves can be good, actually, and she calls him weak and says that if he wants to play house with the werewolves, then he can die like one too.
She starts also trying to kill him, but they fight her off together, and she dies again a little bit, but not before telling them that Gerard will finish what she started. Derek realizes that he has to get involved now if he wants to keep his family safe. So he goes to Scott and the rest of the pack and tells them that he and Chris will help them put an end to this.
Miss Melissa McCall is still working at the hospital doing very important work.
Yeah, she has too much going on to deal with this.
Derek reveals that he has suspected this whole time that the reanimations were in some way related to the Nematron tree, which has just been sort of preserved for the past 5 years. They decide to all go out into the forest and check on it, and Derek is elected to drive them since he has recently purchased a minivan, and now has the largest car out of any of them. They all pile in, but when Scott goes to sit down, there's no more room for him because the baby's car seat is strapped in, and he asks Derek if he can just take the car seat out and hold baby Laura on his lap, and Derek is horrified by this idea.
He tells Scott that he can either cram himself into the trunk or he can ride on the roof. And then we get a 3-minute sequence of Scott man surfing to a pop song that is maybe David Bowie's Heroes while they drive through Beacon Hills, and it's really good, and it's just like Teen Wolf 1985. Unrestrained summer fun.
Yeah, we're creating an infinite loop of Teen Wolf movies and then series inspired by those movies.
Yeah. And every time it's a movie, it has to include Teen Wolf van surfing.
And in this moment, I swear, we are infinite.
So they get to the tree and they see that, yes, it is rapidly regrowing, and Derek is like, how did none of you think to check the tree? There's magic floating around all over town, pulling bodies out of the ground. Of course it's the tree. And they're all like, but Dr. Abaddon Wolfsmord, we figured it had to be him.
And Derek's like, you didn't think that it could be both? That maybe an evil sorcerer could be reviving the tree to harness its power, and this Dr. Wolfsmord could just be involved in that?
And they all have to go, no. But Malia says they should just kill the tree, right? Because that's what they... Good job, Malia, forestry worker.
Yeah.
And Derek tells them that yes, they need to kill the tree, but it's not as simple as just cutting it down now. Whatever magic is being used to regrow it is covering it with a protective shield that can only be cut through by another source of magic. Just like everyone else is coming back to life, so has the tree.
And they all turn to Styles, who's trying to subtly hide his hands in his pockets because they're covered in sparkly rings and sharpied runes and chipped black nail polish.
And Scott's like, Styles, I heard you've been doing magic all over town and you're so good at it. You can kill the tree, right?
And Styles is like, oh, about that. I was gonna tell you.
And Scott's like, oh god, you're dating my mom too.
And Styles is like, I wish. No, I can't do magic. Yeah. I tried. I failed. Came back home and started scamming the police.
But Scott loves and believes in his bro, so he's like, no, Styles, I bet you're really good at magic. You can do it, you just have to believe in yourself. And everyone's like, yeah, Styles, you can do it.
So he pushes up the sleeves of his crushed velvet Party City wizard robe and holds his hands out to the tree and closes his eyes, and everybody cheers him on, and like some sparkles start coming out of his fingers, and everyone's like, he's doing it! He's killing that tree! Wow! Magic! And then his fingers make a little noise, and all the sparkles fall down, and the tree grows even bigger, and everyone's like, oh.
So they all get back in the minivan, and Scott asks if the offer is still open to ride in the trunk, and Derek's like, no, you threatened the safety of my baby, and for that you are never allowed in my car ever again. Even if I lend it to your hot mom, and she offers to give you a ride, you must ride on top of the car. And even when I give this car to my daughter on her 16th birthday, and we all go for a celebratory drive to get a celebratory ice cream, you will not be allowed in it.
And Scott's like, okay, and climbs back on the roof, and then we get another fun scene of van surfing, and somebody throws a rock at him, and also Sheriff Stalinsky sees them driving by and just pretends that he did not see it, because he would like to not be involved in whatever is happening.
They go back to Deaton and they explain the situation and how they've been trying to fix this on their own, but they need more than some cryptic hints from him. They need his help.
And Deaton's like, oh, but I retired from...
Why does he have this accent?
I don't know why he has an accent.
He developed it.
Yeah, in the past 5 years he's developed an accent. Because, oh, but I retired from magic years ago. When I... I don't know. Oh, but... oh, but I retired. I don't know why I retired. Just getting more every time. Oh, but I retired from magic years ago when I handed Styles my title of emissary. Why, I don't think I could even use magic anymore. I have just forgotten how. Heals an injured bird with his hands and then it flies away.
They're fully in the vet clinic.
Yeah. And he's just healing animals and releasing them. Oh, magic. I haven't heard that name in many years. There you go, little buddy. be free.
Styles tells Dean that he needs to take back being the emissary because he is actually very bad at it and has been faking being able to use magic this whole time. And Deaton's like, but if you haven't been using magic...
And I haven't been using magic.
then who's been drawing all of the magical energy in town? And Styles is like, and it's not the werewolves. Just getting that out of the way, it's not the werewolves. It seems that somebody has been using magic in this town for a long time, and apparently it isn't you. I'd say if you can find this magic user, you'll either have the cause or the solution. Either way, there'll be a major player in this game. And then he hands Styles a chess piece, and Styles is like, oh, nuts, do I have to make another chessboard to explain to my dad?
Suddenly, Derek perks up and turns towards the window. He runs at it and jumps, curling his body around the baby and cannonballing through the glass.
She is perfectly safe.
She's perfectly safe. They all watch as he sprints off into the woods, and then they run outside to try and see what he ran after. Oh boy, did you see a squirrel?
Yeah, there's a brief minute where they're all like, was it too many birds? Did the birds get too much? Two, when they get outside, they see Gerard Argent following after Derek, muttering under his breath about how no werewolf is going to be named after his granddaughter, and Allison's just like, ooh, this is weird.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna kill all the werewolves. The gang moves to run and catch him, but before they can,
They hear motorcycles revving in the distance. It's Cora and her lesbian biker gang. They come roaring into town and barely register Gerard as a speed bump as they crush him with their wheels. They pull up in front of the pack and Cora pulls her helmet off and does a dramatic hair flip. She says, I thought I missed it, but it seems like I'm just in time. Where's Derek? Everybody points off into the forest and she takes off in that direction.
for a lesbian biker gang, some of whom are vampires and some of whom are Sam from iCarly, follow her, and the pack follows them until they get to Derek and Cora, who are both hugging Laura, not the baby, but their sister, who has just emerged from the dirt. 3!
Derek introduces Laura to Laura, his baby, and it's a very sweet and tearful reunion. Then, they all see a bright light shining up into the sky from in the forest, so together they all follow it to the Nematon tree, which is now glowing. Is it Nematon or Nematon? I don't know. Tell us in the comments which way it's supposed to be said.
I feel like it's Nematon because you've got like the Greek god Nemesis, but also like it's Teen Wolf. Who knows?
Teen Wolf.
Who knows?
Either way, it's glowing.
Standing at the base of the tree is Danny, their friend Danny, and sitting in the branches of the glowing tree is
Greenberg! Scott is like, Greenberg, what are you doing up there? Get down, it could be dangerous.
And Greenberg laughs an evil laugh. Ha ha, he laughs. Dangerous for my enemies, perhaps, he says. They notice that he is wearing the real version of Styles' stupid little witch costume.
They all gasp and take a moment to process this new development. Then Scott is like, Danny, what are you doing here? Get back, this could be dangerous.
And Danny laughs an evil laugh. Ha ha, he laughs. Dangerous for our enemies, perhaps?
Everybody gasps again. Jackson asks Danny, what's going on? And Danny explains that Greenberg is his hot witch boyfriend.
Yeah, we would like Greenberg to be like the hottest man alive because throughout Teen Wolf you never see his face, and we would like him to be crazy hot. Our suggestions for casting are, Boo Boo Stewart. This guy.
Avon Jogia?
Yeah. Or KJ Appa.
But blonde. And Greenberg explains that he has fully been a powerful witch this entire time, but none of them noticed because they were too focused on themselves. But now he's going to harness the power of the Nemeton tree, and he's going to keep raising the dead until finally he's going to cast a spell to stop the hearts of every single person in town, and the power of all of those deaths will shoot through the tree and into him, and it will make him the most magical man ever.
Which makes about as much sense as any other Teen Wolf plot. And Styles is like, Danny, how could you let him do this? And Danny's like, I hate all of you. You were all the worst people. Remember when you all missed my coding competition because you were too busy being werewolves? And when you made me break the law by showing me the naked torso of just the saddest man? And he points at Derek, and Derek's just like, and that time I almost died in that motel? And when Scott ruined that dance for me? And when Jackson stole my ex-boyfriend? Your actions have consequences. Also, Greenberg's crazy hot, and he said if I helped him, we could make out on the ashes of his town. So, like, yeah, I picked him over you guys.
Styles asks if Greenberg has always been hot, and Greenberg is like, yes, I have always been hot. You guys just never paid attention to me. And then he makes fun of Styles' stupid little witch costume. Styles turns to Derek and tells him to go climb the tree and get Greenberg out of it. Greenberg is like, Derek, you don't want to help them. If you let me continue, it won't be long until we get back to the night of the fire. Don't you want to see your whole family alive again? Don't you want your child to meet her grandmother?
And Derek's like, okay, obviously I've thought about this, but it wouldn't be right. I'm teaching Laura Jr. I don't think that's how Junior works.
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, I'm teaching Laura...
We gotta differentiate them somehow.
Yeah, I'm teaching Laura Jr. that violence is wrong. I can't let you do this. And Greenberg turns to Styles and is like, what about you? Don't you want to see your mother again?
And Styles is like, oh, I actually did not think about that. And Greenberg's like, you could join me, you know. I could teach you how to harness your spark, and together we could be the most powerful witches the world has ever seen.
And Styles is like, no? Like, yeah, I want to see my mom again, but like, at what cost? So Greenberg's like, okay, then you can die with everybody else. I'm tired of waiting. I think there's enough bodies in this town. And the tree starts to glow brighter, and they all make frightened noises. And then...
Greenberg! Somebody shouts from behind them. They see something white and spherical fly out of the trees and hit Greenberg on the side of the head, knocking him off of his tree branch and leaving him hanging by one hand. They all turn to see Couch Finstock with a lacrosse stick. He makes his way through the crowd of werewolves and lesbian vampire bikers and starts hitting Greenberg with the lacrosse stick, yelling, knock it off, Greenberg! Until Greenberg is jostled out of the tree and onto the ground. Styles wiggles his fingers and yells, containment spell, and then sits on Greenberg's back. And sits on Greenberg's back to keep him in place.
And then Coach hits the tree with his lacrosse stick and tells it to knock it off, and it shrivels back into its stump.
And they're all like, yay, Coach Finstock! Coach Finstock! And they sing for He's a Jolly Good Fellow, and Coach is doing a victory lap around the tree. And then they look over and Laura's dying, and Allison is dying, and Erica and Boyd are also dying. So Coach awkwardly claps Scott and Jackson on the back and retreats to the forest to watch. When Coach shows up and beats Greenberg up, they're like, Coach, how did you know this was happening? And he's like, well, a dear friend of mine, Dr. Abaddon Wolfsword, told me that you kids were in trouble and that I needed to come save you.
And then after he does his victory laps around the tree and runs off into the woods, we see his best friend, Dr. Abaddon Wolfsmord, just kind of pick him up around the ribs and spin him around a few times like a ballerina, and then they skip off together because they're boy best friends.
Yeah, anyone want to be boy best friends?
Everybody crouches around their dying friends and says their goodbyes. And we say our apologies that we didn't use them better in this movie, but like, is Jeff Davis going to? No. Chris Argent shows up just in time to say goodbye to his daughter, and then take his new baby daughter when Derek starts crying too much, and he sits there on the ground trying not to get his pants muddy while he just holds all of them. And Cora is clearly confused about what that relationship situation is, but she's getting comforted by all of her lesbian bikers. And Styles tries to say his goodbyes from like 10 feet away where he's still sitting on Greenberg. And then it starts to rain, and it's beautiful and mournful, and Greenberg gets wet and his outfit looks stupid, and Danny just leaves.
Then they go, well, gang. Well, gang, guess this calls for one last round of van surfing to brighten our spirits. And it's what they would have wanted.
We don't talk about what happens to the bodies after, because I just don't want to deal with that.
Isaac's just gonna have a real rough next few weeks. Cora rides her motorcycle off of the van, and it's awesome. She does a flip over Scott's head, and then the credits sequence, it's just a really long, extended sequence of parkour on top of the van, and this includes Melissa and Chris and everyone who died, and then it's the baby's turn, and she takes her first steps on top of the van, and then immediately does a backflip, and it cuts to the special guest, and other Laura is holding her, and we all cheer, and the screen fades out, and then the rest of the credits.
And then there's like a 30-second teaser at the end of the Were-Jaguar, I guess, because we thought that Kate had died in the last episode, and we wrote this entire script on that assumption, and then we found out, no, she didn't.
She just
She just left.
Yeah, then we did not want to figure out how to fit her in again. And then post-credit scene, where they all end their van ride by pulling into the gay club where Derek Hale hangs out, and they see Dr. Abaddon Wolfsmord doing magic tricks to impress men because he has been gay and he has been magical the entire time, just separately from all of them being gay and magic. Also, maybe the man he's trying to impress is the Mind Flayer. We gotta keep continuity in our videos.
Yeah, Hedgehog Cinematic Universe. Mm-hmm. I'll be setting up the wiki soon.
Yeah. The end.
Wow, gang.
What a fun summer we had. We learned so much about ourselves and the power of friendship.
And witches.
And witches. And now we're parents. I love my son.
Thank you everybody for being patient while I've been doing weird school stuff and while we've both been doing weird medical stuff. We've got videos filmed for the next couple months. If you want to see us make these babies or see us do a lot of other things like Vampire Book Club.
Nobody likes Vampire Book Club.
I love Vampire Book Club so much.
Please join our Patreon on the Vampire Book Club level and then watch all the Vampire Book Club videos and then
genuinely
tell us they're good. And tell us they're good.
I put more effort into those than into these.
Give us validation for the hours we spend making Vampire Book Club that nobody likes.
You can
also it's October, so it's 4. It's October, so it's spooky, and spooky is good for Vampire Book Club.
Yeah. You could also see our recommendations for Derek Hale fics, or...
Yes, also you can, watch us read you, the fan fiction we wrote about Derek Hale and Harry Styles falling in love on Fantasy Island.
Yeah, and you can see which plot points we ripped directly from that for this movie. Mm-hmm. We would love to see you over there.
Also, thank you to everyone who's already joined our Patreon.
Yeah, we love you guys.
I feel like we forget to do specific thank yous in the videos, but it's so nice, and it allows us to fund trips to Build-A-Bear and for Noah to come here and film videos.
Oh yeah, we got to take the train money out of that, which was really great.
Yeah, it helps us a lot. And it makes filming videos much easier.
Yeah, much less stressful.
Yeah.
Our social media link should also be below.
Also, let us know if you would like a full review on Fire, a Teen Wolf novel.
I thought it was gonna be bad. A little bit it's not. We love you.
We love you.
We will see you next month with something that we are unfortunately still thinking about.
Something we are unfortunately still thinking about. Hint. Those beasts sure are fantastic. And they sure are transphobic. Transphobic beasts and where to find them.
Okay, bedtime, baby.
Time, baby.
Bye.
Madonna and Child. But it's this.
Come and sit on our log. We'll have fun with Hedgehog. No unclothed frog and hedge. You can be our new best friend. H-E-D-G-F-R-O-G. Hedgehog on we.
I'm the alphas. That's one of the vampires in the biker gang.
My phone will autocorrect to MILFlissa now, because I've typed that out so many times.
Yeah. AU where Derek has a cell phone and Scott finds out that he's dating his mom because he accidentally autocorrects it to MILFlissa in the text.
Yeah.
That's my joke.
That's a very good joke. Oh God, I really want the scene where where Derek's like, you don't have to call me Dad, and Scott's like, obviously I wasn't going to. Like, obviously that was not on the table. And Derek's like, yeah, okay. See you later, sport. Also, a Derek Hale necklace. And my babe. Look at his little pants, because now he can stand like Derek Hale.